Sanders Partee from Taxi Magic, one of our sponsors. He's going to talk about his app company and hopefully address the model regs. Thank you, Sanders. Welcome.
Thank you. Yep. Perfect. And we hold on to this, yeah? Perfect. Thank you. It's great to see a bunch of consistent faces. I think it's nice that we were allowed to go first. I don't know how that happened either, but I think that in the smartphone industry for taxis, certainly we were the first major player in this space. So my goal is to tell you a couple of very basic things. Hopefully you walk away thinking and knowing that Taxi Magic is a market leader and innovator. I think that one of the consistent things that we hear is that across the United States, at least, the one consistent thing is every market is different. I would agree with that to a certain extent, but from a technology point of view, we're in more than 50 cities, and we think that in many respects, there's more similarities than differences. Clearly, New York in an all-hail model is different than my hometown of Alexandria, Virginia. But basically, in terms of technology, there are more similarities than differences. In terms of our position on how the industry works, we're a fan of the full-service fleet. We think that full-service fleets have a strong role in the industry, and we support full-service fleets. We work with full-service fleets. As a matter of fact, to date, we can't even work with a non-full service fleet. If you don't have a dispatching system, we don't currently have a solution for you. So we're focused on fleets. And then frankly, in terms of our position on regulation of apps, we feel like that apps should work through fleets, or the app should be regulated as a fleet. You can, and I'll try to develop that a little bit in my few words here. So Ride Charge, we're venture funded, like several of my competitors here. We have got over $20 million invested. We get phone calls every day wanting people to invest more. We've been around since 2007. We're geographically spread across the United States, and we're launching in international cities this quarter, and have big plans for the second quarter, or first quarter of 2013. You'll see a lot of us internationally. We've also made a big investment in the New York City black car market. We've acquired a company called Aleph Technologies that run much of the dispatch for the New York City market, and we have big plans for that acquisition, that technology. Very quickly, we're not just an app company. I mentioned that we support full-service fleets, so our technology is not just a booking app, but we do apps, and we do booking through websites from a fleet. We do text message booking. We're going to be rolling out an IVR booking soon. So we do all of that. Plus, on the bottom, we have a PIM. We have a backseat payment device. One of the unique positions that we have is that we do both the booking on the front end and the payment on the back end. Our app does payment, but for a regular ride, a street hail, we have that technology in the back seat as well. I won't talk about that on this panel. We're excited about our position in the marketplace. Companies like Apple have consistently promoted us. I think they like our plan of servicing the entire industry. We do have click to call, by the way. If we don't have a magic booking capability with a fleet, we can display the appropriate regulated, appropriate fleet in an area if we don't have magic booking. That has helped us become the #1 Taxi Magic app. If you search in the App Store for taxi, you will get a screen that says Taxi Magic. So we're pretty excited about that. So moving on towards our position on regulation and fleets, we believe that full-service fleets have led the industry. Safety, customer service, support. I see a lot of my fleet customers out here. They put a lot of investment in training their drivers, creating the infrastructure of a full-service environment. They've made technology investments over the years, and they do a lot to source riders for their drivers. Those fleets that have invested have gained market share. I think that regulators often favor dispatching fleets and help them get more permits. Drivers pay more when the fleet can provide technology and rides. All kinds of government programs, whether it's paratransit or school board programs, those are typically awarded to more full-service fleets. So the takeaway on that is that if you have a fleet and you can make investments in technology and training and programs like that, then you can charge higher rent revenue to your drivers, and then therefore you have that incentive to invest in operations. So it's sort of a virtuous cycle. If you compare a full-service fleet against a simple street hail fleet, you can see that there's significant differences. They both rent some basic services to the drivers, but on a full-service fleet, the dispatch, they basically are selling rides to drivers. They're doing programs, whether it's call center operations, working with corporations or hotels to get exclusives, marketing. So they're bringing rides to riders. They are also doing the same thing to the public. They're bringing rides to low-income riders, elderly populations, drunk driving alternatives. So when they do those, what we think of as necessary services, they're differentiating themselves from people who haven't invested, fleets who haven't invested, or independents who haven't invested in those things. So one other reason why I like a fleet, many of you here were also with me at TLPA in Vegas, and getting back home from Sandy was a challenge with the Hurricane Sandy. I live here in town, and so the cab line was enormous, and I asked the bellman at the Caesars Palace, hey, is there another alternative? And they said, yes, here's a sedan, he can take you. And I won't explain why I had very little cash in my pocket, but I didn't have much cash in my pocket. So I'm riding with him, and I said, hey, can you take a credit card? And he said, sure, no problem. So I get there, and I had been fiddling with my wallet to try to see if I had enough cash to pay him, and I left it on the seat. And so I get out, I hand him my credit card, I pay with the Square, and I get in, I'm checking in to my flight, and I'm like, hey, where's my driver's license, where's my wallet? And I had remembered that I looked in the back seat, and the driver had also looked in the back seat and sort of quickly shut the door. And so I'm like, oh man, I think I left my wallet in that limo. And so I look on the Square, and I had had it email me a receipt. So lo and behold, the guy's name's on the receipt. And I'm like, okay, cool, I'll Google him. So I find out his Facebook page. And I see his picture, and it's like, okay, that's the guy. Well, the disturbing thing is what I found next. And please don't write down this guy's name, because he might come get me. But he's wanted, or he's arrested for, sexual, what was it? Sexual assault. Okay, thank you. So I found that after I had direct messaged him on Facebook saying, hey, please, this is me, will you please bring me my wallet back? How can I find you? I called Jeremy and said, hey, at Caesars Palace, will you get me, will you go down there and see if they know this guy? Of course, they have no idea, so I'm going to take this off the screen so y'all don't write down his name. But the bottom line is I never got my wallet back. I have no way to contact him. He's got a bunch of he's got some issues. So I would prefer to have been dealing with the fleet who had done a little bit better work with this guy. So, moving on, that's why I support fleets. And if the app wants to operate direct with drivers, and then I think that they should be regulated as a fleet so that I get those same protections. All right. Most of you know the evolution of the booking technology here: radio dispatch, digital dispatch, call automation with UDI. I think we were early in 2008 with just automated booking. Later, we brought in tracking and payment. You guys are all aware of the more direct-to-driver apps. Now there's some dispatch vendor apps coming from my friends, dispatch vendor friends, DDS, Mobile Knowledge, MT Data, et cetera. And we welcome that competition. We think that technology is a good thing and competition is a good thing. What you're going to see next from us is a whole new set of features that we call Taxi Magic Plus, which is coming from deeper integration. And I'm going to make this quick. So the drivers have a particular market view. They want to work faster, smarter. They're very fickle in terms of time of day, day of week, in terms of what do they want to pick up. Do they want hail work? Do they want radio work? Do they want airport work? And what has happened with these new direct-to-driver apps, they've changed the game in terms of what the consumers expect, and fleets need to improve their game. We would say that there's a new minimum bar on user experience, and that is, before a rider needs to book, we need to know what the ride conditions are. Am I available to get a car? What is if I book a car, I want to promise that the car is going to come. We want ride transparency. I want to be able to see the car on its way to pick me up. I need some simplicity and payment. Payment options are important. And finally, this concept of scarcity management. As an industry, we've got to figure out how do we deal with a situation when, how do we decide who gets the car when there's a limited set of cars? So in this age of rider focus, the question is, will we, as an industry, allow a migration to virtual fleets, a situation where drivers will start to augment their business with a driver app that's outside of their dispatch fleet. Over time, maybe they don't need the fleet anymore. And so my argument is the big loser in this world is the full service fleet. So if we let the virtual fleets come, undermining full service fleets, then you sort of need to regulate the apps as a fleet, because then they're going to be the new full service fleet. So Matt, my answer on the regulatory issues is technology is inevitable. We're an example. We're doing technology, high technology within rules with fleets. We think full service fleets are important to the community, and if you don't create an environment for them to succeed, then you'll get what you want. And then finally, I said it like 6 times. Either regulate the apps as a fleet, or work through a fleet. And that's my comments. Thank you.